Hello, hello, PHP members. So good to see you today. Glad you're joining us for this webinar, this mini retreat. So happy to be here with you. My name is Anna Smythe, and you've seen a handful of emails come through, probably with my name on it. And today we are, I'm from an organization called Mindfulness Utah, which gives you a hint into where we're headed today. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes in a bit of a mindfulness retreat. And we're actually going to go a little bit deeper today with some of our practice and maybe what we even are doing here, why we're here. As we are heading into the holidays, as we're recording this webinar, we're just on the cusp of the calendar turning to November. And so heading into the holidays, we have lots of opportunity for us to focus on something, and that something is rest. So I want you to take a second and ask yourself why you're here. There's so many things you could do with this 30 minutes, and you are here. Maybe part of why you're here is because this meets a requirement for receiving a benefit through PHP, and that's a great reason. Maybe there's another reason you're here as well. And maybe that reason has to do with rest. Do you need rest? Is there something in you that's telling you you need some rest? So you've given yourself this 30 minutes to rest. I want to ask you this question. What is rest? Just take a second and think about that. What is rest? If our day is jam-packed and we're going from one thing to the next and pushing ourselves, and then we take a few moments to take a breath or two. Yes, that's rest. Maybe there's something else. I want to ask you a question. What do you think is rest as a way of being? We might think of rest as like a light switch that we flip on and off. Like, I'm resting and now I'm going. Now I'm resting and I'm going. And instead, maybe there's a way of being that comes from a place of rest. It's an interesting thought. Interesting to consider. So I have another question for you. As we think about rest and maybe restoration or rejuvenation of our bodies, our brains, our energy, think about coming from this place of rest, this well-being and restfulness. Think about the last maybe 3 or 4 days. Have you skipped a meal? Have you skipped sleep? So you could get things done, squeeze in a little bit more activity, productivity. Have you overscheduled yourself at some point in the last week? How about criticism? Have you been overly critical of yourself at some point in the last week? Is that restful? Demanded perfection, maybe? Or just simply pushed yourself beyond what you know your limits to be. So if you've checked any of these boxes, I'm really happy you're here today, because we are going to do some practice to focus on what it means to rest, and not just in the moments when we're not doing, but can we allow doing to come from a place of rest, of deep restfulness, as a way to take care of ourselves and to keep ourselves in a state of energy and aliveness and awakeness. So maybe there's been something in you that has called for some rest. Maybe you feel exhausted. Maybe you feel burned out. Maybe you feel stressed out. Maybe you feel like there's just simply too much. Life is just has too much. It's just overwhelming, maybe. And even though you have that sense, maybe you've also felt a little bit stuck. Like, this is just the pace of life. This is the pace of everyone's life. And so I can't slow down. I can't create more space and rest for myself, because this is like being on the freeway. if you slow down to 50 miles an hour on the freeway, that's going to cause you even more stress than just going the same speed as everyone else. So maybe you feel a little bit stuck in the pace of life. Just not really sure. I'd like to create more rest, more space, more calm, but I just can't quite figure out how to do that within the scope and the parameters of what's maybe expected of me. So today, for these 30 minutes that we're going to have together, I'd like to extend an invitation to you. Maybe let's begin. Let this be the beginning of starting a culture of rest together. Culture of rest. It's not just moments of rest after which we jump up and get back to burning ourselves out again. But can we begin to create a culture of rest? This is deep work. And I've thought of REST as an acronym. Go with me on this. So REST as an acronym standing for Ready to End Stress and Trauma. Yes. Or maybe even excessive stress and trauma, right? We know stress is an important thing. It's what helps us get up and going, but maybe we're in a state of excess, and maybe something in you knows that. So are you ready to end stress and trauma? Stepping into this way of being that is restful. So this session, hopefully, can be a beginning of a new journey, a beginning of maybe an exploration of what it means to allow your life and everything in it to arise from a place that is spacious and restful. So let's do a little practice together to get in touch with this a little bit. Maybe let's close our eyes or just lower your gaze for a moment. And I want you to do a little scan of your body. So feeling your feet, feeling your lower legs, actually feeling what's there. We're not thinking about them, but really feeling what the sensations are. Your knees, your upper legs, your hips and pelvic region, your abdomen and chest, clavicle area, and then your back, your lower back, mid back, upper back and shoulder area, your arms and hands, and your neck and head and face. And then let's just take a couple of slightly deeper than normal breaths here together. Just feeling the breath, letting the breath fill the body. And now I'd like to invite you to find one part of your body that is particularly experiencing maybe the absence of rest. A part of your body that feels tired or tension, fatigued, sore, stiff. Some part of your body that is communicating with you somehow, asking for some rest. Maybe it's your neck, maybe it's somewhere in your back, maybe it's your jaw that's been clenched for 10 years. Whatever it might be, see if you can find one place, just one place in your body that could use some rest. And then I'd like you to connect your hand. Just bring your hand gently to that place in your body that's experiencing some tension or some fatigue or some soreness. This is what we naturally, instinctively do when we stub our toe. We grab it with our hand. When our head hurts, we might place our hand on our head. Or with children or pets, our attention, our affection, we communicate with our hands. So in this moment, bringing a hand to this part of your body that is communicating a need for rest. And using this connection with your hand to communicate back that in this moment you're listening. So just letting your hand be on this part of your body. If it feels like something that might be supportive, you might even maybe massage it a little bit with your fingers or your thumb, or maybe just having this gentle touch, this gentle connection, simply feeling. Typically, our approach to these parts of our bodies that are communicating with us in this way, typically we get pretty impatient. Say, oh, I don't want that pain to be there, and so we maybe just try to ignore it or distract ourselves or make it go away somehow. So for this moment, we're kind of taking this is a little bit of a radical shift to just say, hello, I'm listening. I hear you. You're tired, you're sore, you're stiff, you're tense, you're overworked. Just be with this part of our body for a minute. So for the next few minutes, I'd like you to maybe dedicate your mindfulness practice to this part of your body. So I'm going to share some phrases with you that maybe you can share with this part of your body as you're connecting with your hand, this gentle touch. I am here resting for you so that you can thrive, so you can be fully alive and able to respond to whatever's needed today, tomorrow. I am here resting for you. I am done extracting and exploiting your capacity. I am here resting for you. If you want, you can continue to hold that hand against this part of your body, or you can bring your hand back into your lap. But keeping your attention connected with this part of your body, maybe there's more than one parts of your body that are feeling this sense of weariness or fatigue, maybe even a sense of numbness. But in some way, the absence of rest. And let's just be here, right? Let's just be here with our body as it is, just for a few moments. Breathing, letting your breath be natural, and letting go of any need in your mind, any goal orientation for this practice or this time we have together to be relaxing or enlightening or anything else. What we're doing right now is we're just taking a moment to pause and be with ourselves exactly as we are. Radical shift. Can I pause and listen? So as we sit here, just taking one breath at a time, consider this moment of sitting and breathing, this rest is courageous. Rest is courageous. Rest is trust. Allowing yourself to be still and rest is deep trust. And rest is honest. We're not hiding from ourselves. We're not ignoring or running away from this communication from our body or anything else. Rest is honest, courageous, honest, deep trust. So as you breathe for a moment here, simply leaning into the scientifically demonstrated benefits of slow breath, with your mind focused here on the breath coming in, the breath going out, anchoring yourself with these concepts. Rest is courageous. Rest is honest. Rest is trust, developing trust with our brain and our body. Allowing yourself to be here in this courageous stance. And as you breathe, I want to share some phrases with you. As I have led mindfulness and meditation practice over the years, I found that it's increasingly becoming more and more difficult for people to just pause. There's so much going on in our minds, so much going on in our lives, so much going on in our bodies, that stillness is a real challenge. And maybe you're even noticing that coming up right now. The challenge that it is to be still. So I want to give you some supports here for your stillness as you're breathing. This is all we're doing right now, is just breathing. Being aware of the breath, being aware of the body. So if you notice restlessness, if you notice agitation or difficulty of any sort coming up, maybe here are some phrases to hold you in place. With this stillness, I'm standing my ground in a fierce posture of rest. With this restful breath, I am an ambassador of balance and wholeness and wisdom. So as you focus your attention on the breath, breathe in bravery. Breathe out tension. As the breath falls out of the body, let the tension fall out with it. Breathe in strength, fortitude. Breathe out resistance. Breathe in bravery. Breathe out tension. Breathe in strength. Breathe out resistance. You know what you need. You know best what you need in this moment and in every moment to come. You know what you need. Now, from this place of courage and strength and gentleness or friendliness. Maybe coming back to that place in your body where you were identifying some tension or some fatigue or some other sort of discomfort in the body, coming back to that part of the body. And let's just gently and creatively start to move. So I'm not going to give you instructions of how to move. You've been in your body your entire life, and so you know how it moves better than I ever could. So as you're aware of the stiffness or the soreness or the tension or whatever's here, just let yourself start to open up to possibilities. Well, what if I move it this way? Maybe just tensing the muscle for a few moments in that part of the body and then releasing. Or maybe some stretching, maybe some rotating or some twisting. This is courageous and honest and trusting. And as you start to move this part of the body in whatever way just seems to come to mind, which, by the way, might seem very uncomfortable, might be very uncomfortable. Like, oh, just tell me what to do. Tell me how to move my body. I go to a yoga class or an exercise class, and we want someone else to say, this is how you do it. So just this freedom of saying, well, I don't know if I'm doing it right. You absolutely are. You know what you need. And as you start to move, if you notice that there's one particular certain movement, a stretch or a rotation or something where your body says, ooh, yes, more of that, stay there. Stay there and breathe and come back to these phrases that this is rest, and rest is courageous. Rest is honest. You are being here in your body, opening up to the honest communication that's coming from these parts of your body that usually we just don't really want to listen to. And you will probably notice boredom or restlessness or some other type of agitation, irritation sneaking in here or there. That is so normal. So again, coming back to standing your ground, that by just being here and staying here, just moving your body and moving your breath, that you are standing your ground in this fierce posture of rest. Continue your movement for just a few more moments. Breathing. If you ever move in a certain way that makes your breath stop, or your breath starts to feel labored, that's a good time to back out a little bit, soften a little bit. So now let's come together for a little bit more movement together as a group. We have only 30 minutes today, and so I can't get into a lot of the really fascinating research around the brain and the body and how sometimes we experience stress as a very mental phenomenon, but we can actually use our body and calm our body in certain ways, moving it in certain ways, and that will have an impact on our mental experience of stress. So let's do that together. Let's move our bodies just a little bit in really simple ways that you could then do on your own as you're sitting at your desk. Just these simple ways, connecting the breath with the movement. We're not, doing a yoga class or anything like that. We're just moving our bodies because we know The research has shown us that moving our bodies is a great way to move the needle on our stress, on reducing our stress, on having stress-free holidays, I think is what we titled this webinar session. So let's take a minute here and just bring ourselves into a nice straight back posture, taking a nice breath in. And then as we exhale, I want you to just round your back, just lower your head, round your back. And then as you inhale, expanding your chest, opening the chest, breathing in. Let's do that a couple more times. Exhaling as we round. Inhaling as we expand our chest, look up toward the ceiling, shoulders back. And one more. If you have a desk job and you sit at a computer, coming back to neutral, that's a great one to do all by itself, to simply open up your chest. Sometimes we sit at a computer and we get really stressed and we hunch over. Just opening up this area can create a lot more space for breath. And we have more breath, we have more ease in the body. So let's drop our arms to our sides for this next movement. And on an in-breath, we're just going to raise the arms up overhead. Again, something so simple that you can always just do sitting at your desk. Grab our right wrist, reaching up, grabbing that right wrist with your left hand, and then coming up and over the center line of the body, always breathing. Coming back up to center, switching sides, grabbing that wrist, coming over the center line of the body. And collecting data as we go. So there will be certain parts of your body that will say, ooh, yes, more of that, please. Always listen. Coming back up and lowering the arms down with an exhale. And let's come into a twist. So taking a nice breath in, we're going to bring our right hand to the outside of our left thigh. And then bring your left hand back behind you somewhere, maybe hooking it around the back of your chair or placing it on the seat of the chair behind you. Taking that breath in and then exhaling as we twist and look back over that shoulder. Letting go, again, letting go of any goal orientation here. This is rest. And rest is courageous. One more breath. And then exhaling as we untwist. Easy breath here as we set up for the opposite side. Bringing your left hand to the outside of your right thigh above the knee. And connecting your, your right hand with the chair behind you somewhere. Taking a nice breath in and then exhaling as we twist to the right. We move our bodies in lots of ways throughout the day. Maybe you do some exercise, maybe you walk, maybe it's just the simple movement we call non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's a scientific term of just walking up and down the stairs or other simple things, washing dishes. Gently releasing, untwisting. But most of the time when we're moving our body, we're not paying super close attention to what's going on. Our mind is somewhere else. You might have even noticed that during those couple of movements that we just did. You're like, okay, I can do this, but you're thinking about your to-do list, or you're thinking about what am I going to make for dinner? What's this errand I have to run? Or you're thinking about something in the past, a meeting you just had, or something that happened 10 years ago that felt like an injustice of some sort. And so as you are moving your body in these very simple ways, which is my invitation for you as we move into the busy holiday season, as you're moving your body, bring your mind here. That's the rest. If we are constantly in this disconnected, multitasking sort of state, we'll never really be able to develop that sense of restfulness, of feeling like, okay, I feel rested. And so these are cumulative moments that we build over time. But the key, that real key thing is, okay, as I am moving my person, whether it's in some kind of stretching or opening or calming movement, or if it's simply the moving of the mouse and the keyboard or whatever else it is that we need to do to get our work done. Can we let our mind be right here? Can we let our mind feel our feet on the floor? Can we let our awareness be present rather than bodies here, mind somewhere else? So that's a simple invitation for you. So we're just going to do those 3 movements today. I find that in the mindfulness classes I teach, I find that we like to collect a whole bunch of strategies and tactics and tools, and then we don't really know how to move forward with them because we have too much. So this paralysis of choice, like the cereal aisle at the grocery store. There's just too many options, and so it complicates things for us even further, which is the opposite of rest. So think about these just couple of movements. You did some on your own, some just creative movement and connection and communication with a part of your body that maybe is in need of some rest, that's communicating to you to bring some rest into your life, into your day. And then we did a few others that are just kind of some nice opening and lengthening and awakening of the trunk of the body, where we have all of our vital organs and things like that. So I want to ask you, as we bring this mini retreat to a close, I want to ask you, how can you begin to create some rest in the midst of your daily rituals? How can you begin to create some rest in your holiday rituals? And maybe it is as simple as, I'm going to let my mind be here, feeling what I'm feeling, tasting what I'm tasting, touching what I'm touching, rather than my mind being somewhere else, and my body being here. Maybe there are some interesting ways you can go about this, trying mindful eating, maybe having a few bites of a meal in silence, so you can really experience your food. Maybe it's some simple movement like this. Can I begin my day? Can I sit down at my desk and do some very simple movements before I get started with my day, and that I just have 5 minutes for myself to create that rest? And as I'm doing those movements, I'm not running through my to-do list for the day. I'm letting my mind be right here in this space, in this rest, in this courageous gesture of wellness and wholeness and balance. And this is where we begin to shift the culture and begin to create a culture of rest. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I worked for an agency once that had a nap room, and it was a lovely thing to have a nap room. And I think I may have been the only person who used the nap room. But I did notice that when I would use the nap room, I would make sure that no one was in the hallway, and then I would sneak in there and then close the door and have some rest. I would just lay down and do just a short meditation, or just lay and breathe, or maybe I would actually take a nap, but something that felt like rest. And then when I was done, I would listen, make sure I couldn't hear any footsteps in the hallway, and then I would open the door and sneak back to my space, to sneak back to my desk. So what did that reveal? It revealed that there was not a culture of rest in that environment. And I would venture to say that that is a broader experience that wasn't unique to that specific agency. And so I want to invite all of you to be harbingers, ambassadors of rest. Can we normalize this need to rest? We're human. All of us need it. We know that we do. So can we start to maybe remove this stigma related to rest, that it's lazy or slothful or embarrassing, or that it means that our body or our mind isn't as capable or accomplished as someone else? Can we start to celebrate rest? Can we start to valorize rest even? Or even just normalize it? even let's just start with normalizing rest. That if someone needs to rest, that we can support that. If I need to rest, that I can support that. That I can walk into the nap room, head held high, and come out of the nap room, even if I run into somebody and say, yeah, I just rested. And they can say, that's fantastic. I'm glad you did that. So I want to share something with you as we wrap up here. This is an invitation to you. If this is resonating with you, if you feel like, yes, this, yes, and you're looking for a community where you can make these kinds of shifts, I'd love for you to join us for a furthering this conversation, looking more specifically at our lives and the moments of our lives and how we can start to create rest, how we can start to build this culture and this way of being that is restful. So if this is interesting to you and you'd like to explore it further, we'll be having another short, another short retreat session on November 17th from 1 to 1:30. Short 30-minute rest session where we can start to look at the how-tos of creating this culture. So if you're interested in that, go to mindfulnessutah.com/rest. As you are heading into the holidays, I hope that you can find the strength to rest. And maybe, just maybe, the greatest gift that we could give each other this holiday season is rest. Take care, everyone. It's great to be with you today.